Hello, and welcome to the Run Amok Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Run Amok Podcast, home of the best Bachelorette recaps on this side of Indian Wells. As always, I'm your host, David Stahl. I'm joined alongside me by my loyal compadre, producer, Gary. How's it going, my man?
Going great. Ready to get into this.
You'll notice, unfortunately, no Carson Cooper yet again. For some of our new listeners, we promise, who might be joining us this season, any new listeners, we do have a third member of our crew, an invaluable compadre. Unfortunately, he's teaching the youth of tomorrow today. He's got a big interview, might be going to a new school. We'll see. Don't want to jinx anything, but he would not miss this for anything that is not incredibly important. So we alluded to our draft. We'd like to draft 3 people each and see who makes it to the end. 2-time defending champion. That's not important. I just happen to be the 2-time defending champion. It's just important to note for the record.
Context.
So we'll do that next week. And we look forward to that. Now, first things first, Gary, we got to get out the gloves, get out the brooms, do a little bit of housekeeping. Now, if you're listening to this, we really only ask for one thing. Hit that subscribe button, maybe a couple things. Hit that like button. If you have any feedback, feel free to drop it in the comments section. We love getting insights. We love getting news. We love getting rumors. The only thing we don't love are those juicy spoilers. Keep those away from us. But everything else, drop that in the comments section below. If you think we deserve it, give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. All that good stuff. That's how you can just put a little tip in the tip jar. Is just that free feedback. Takes a couple seconds and it makes an enormous difference. Thank you guys so much for all you've done. Now, before we dive in, Gary, we'd like to jump in to a little bit of listener mail. We didn't have any last week because it was the first week. Naturally, we skipped it, but we got some great stuff this week. I didn't want to go through everything. I want to give a quick shout out. Again, I think I've shouted out both these people before, but Harry Liederman and Zayla Hooper, they always give me a ton of insight. I think that's their kind of role in our community, is they correct me.
They're like our fact checkers, yeah.
They're our fact checking community.
Every episode, because we're never sure of anything we say. I'm
almost never right. I'm almost never right. I'm so close to being right on so many facts.
Well, I think you're probably alluding to this comment specifically, but they were like, oh, this person that you mentioned went home second, not third, or something like that.
It was like Rachel Lindsay.
Yes.
Yeah, I was alluding to the fact that we know that there's a Bachelor coming out of this season.
Mm-hmm.
And we've known that once before. Rachel Lindsay, I said she came second on Nick Viall's season. She came third. Second place was Raven, who is no longer her friend. A little fun fact for people at home. Rachel Lindsay and Raven, no longer friends. Now, but we do appreciate that feedback. Feel free to correct us on anything we do get wrong. But I do have to give a little shout out to Judith Mays for making me look like a moron. These are my favorite comments, is when I get proven wrong, because we love to pat ourselves in the back when we nail a Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise prediction. So we got to own it. We got to take it on the chin when I swing and miss. I said last week, oh, I love Jamie. I'm getting great vibes from my boy Jamie. I think he's mature. I think he's here for the right reasons. I think this. Oh boy. Now we got some good elements from Jamie. We got some deep insights into Jamie, but we also got some snake in the grass moments. And I think those are the moments that are going to define Jamie this season. She commented last week, she goes, Jamie's not going far, with 4 exclamation points. I've copy and pasted it here. I want to get her wording correctly. The older men are caught up in drama. The younger guys are bringing the love and romance. Brandon, Rick, Nate, and Joe. That's who she likes. Brandon, Rick, Nate, and Joe. Fair enough. Not a Jamie fan.
Hey.
Oh boy. I got egg all over my face. Hey, Judith, you got me. Now, Gary, are you ready to jump into this bad boy? Because speaking of Jamie, we've got an action-packed episode, and there's a lot more conflict than simply Jamie, and it starts with our first group date, Rose. Now, I feel like we're going to get this a lot, a teacher date. We get a teacher date and a basketball date, which is just sets us up for the rest of the season perfectly.
Yeah.
First of all, how'd you feel about the date itself? Because it kind of felt like a format we've seen on the show before, not in a bad way, but it was definitely personalized to Michelle. It seemed, I don't know, semi-fresh. How'd you feel about how the date was formatted?
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of one of those things. I think it was good as a first kind of standing point for like all these men to just like show their personality, show maybe how dumb they can be. I don't know if they can spell or not, but I think I do like it. And even if the Bachelor or Bachelorette is not a teacher, we're gonna get it at some point. It's just like a guarantee every season basically. So I didn't hate it though. It wasn't horrible.
Well, we've gotten the spelling day before. I believe it was on Tayshia's season. I don't think it was part of Claire's season. I think it was on Tayshia's.
Yeah.
Where they did, I think it was like the Be a Man challenge or whatever it was to see who was the most grown man in the group. Bennett notoriously spelled limousine wrong. Now I could spell limousine, but I'm just saying these spelling dates, they would terrify me because you're under the bright lights, and I understand like entrepreneur. That's a kind of a tough word. Hey, I'm a big enough man to admit when I don't have spell check on my side, I've swung and missed on entrepreneur many a times. Where do those E's and U's go? How am I ordering those puppies? I don't know. But bro, Brandon, my man, I'm giving a lot of benefit of the doubt here to people. Protein, dude? You couldn't lock down protein?
I love that's like the softball they threw to everybody because all these guys, you know, they're taking protein on the daily.
Man,
that's like a word they see every day, and they're like, "You guys got this."
I could not believe it. Bennett messed up limousine last season. That was the big one that was made fun of. Here's a question: what do you think the easiest word that Brandon would whiff on that they could have given him? Like, how easy do you think the word would be that he wouldn't? Like, I think he's
there's some middle of the ground, like protein. Yeah. Did you say square?
I think protein is perfect. I think he would nail square. I think he would nail square. Okay. Yeah. But I think like that is right where the line is.
I think like business, the word business and protein. I think that's where he might win. Like something.
Business
like
that. Business may have gotten.
That's a tricky one. Maybe if you're not in the know, I don't know.
Yeah, like if you are in fourth grade, that is a tricky one. I think, you know what I think it would be? Octopus. Yeah. I think he's putting an extra S on the end. I think he's going double S on octopus.
Any animal, just elephant, like lion, maybe not. Tiger, you know, that's the easy one. Elephant, that's a tough one. Kangaroo, I don't know.
He's not.
I don't know how many O's are in that word.
And he has a tough rest of the day. He gets the rose somehow, but we'll come back to him. We gotta go back and go to Peter, the pizzapreneur, who we hated. Episode 1, we hated Peter. He is like, look, I don't want to diagnose anyone as a narcissist, but the edit on him was hilarious. Basically, they're doing the spelling, and the last word is narcissist, which is a weird word when you're trying to simulate like a 5th grade classroom. Feels a weird one to bring up, but Will goes with the joke of writing down Peter's name, which is I thought it was very funny. When I watched it back. Do you think he thought of it? I think, you know what the producers did? You know what I think they probably did? The classic, you know, when you don't want to say a joke, but you want someone else to say it. Carson is the king of doing this in a group setting, like getting someone else to say a joke that's too far that he doesn't want to say. So they'll go, oh, you know, it would be really funny if someone did this, like wrote someone's name in place of narcissist. I think they probably said that to him off camera.
I think it had to have been producer set up for sure.
Yeah.
But hey, good on them. Like they're doing their job.
Oh, it was still hilarious. And the kids loved it. The kids were not a fan of Peter, the pizzapreneur, particularly that tiny Asian girl at the front who, when he's talking, she goes, leave her alone. And then calls him out for not following the instructions properly during the chemistry aspect of the date.
Tough look.
Oh boy. And then he freaks out during the confessional, and then later to Will. I had to write down the quote because he gets called a narcissist, and then he's freaking out. He's saying it's the most insulting thing ever. He goes, what about me? What about me now? I was making tremendous progress. I was shining in that group. I was shining.
I was
I
laughing
mean,
so hard. Like, bro,
self-awareness
is
none to be
non-existent.
found.
Like, oh my god,
What a remarkable moment.
insanity, man. Like, just like, how are you so self-involved? Like, especially like it's so telling when you call someone out and their immediate reaction is to freak out. You've won.
Yeah, for sure. And Michelle does bring that up later. She's talking to him. She's like, look, we're gonna get in disagreements, and if your go-to reaction is to scream and yell, and I get it is a personal dig and it's from someone you don't love, right? I would hope you would react differently to someone he really cares about. And
Yeah,
but still, I understand that. Like, if that's your only example of someone in a conflict situation, well, do you want to keep gambling? I like the thing is sometimes it's tough to take this stuff seriously, is because maybe Will has a chance, but like Peter has no chance of winning the show.
Yeah,
There's no, like, he had no business making it through this week. They needed to make it to that scene where he throws a leather jacket in a pool.
Yeah, the producer like, next week we need you to get your jacket thrown in the pool, so we're gonna keep you around. But
They're gonna keep you around for one more week.
You're gonna be gone.
I think he's the thrower, not the throwee.
Oh, is he? Oh, that would make sense. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're
So
right,
we'll see. But I mean, I guess we get one more week of Peter. I'm praying that we're done after this. A lot of people comparing him to Yosef, which I thought was really funny from Claire and Tayshia's
I don't
season.
think he's quite that bad. I do not like him that much, but I don't think he's
No,
as
he's
bad
not
as
like
Yosef.
a
Yosef was straight up
misogynist.
disrespectful.
I think it's
like,
because they kind of look alike a little bit. Maybe
Yeah.
I think that's really it. But let's go back to Brandon. He's spitting out these lines. I think I remember the line vaguely. I didn't write it down, but he basically goes, hold on, I just, like, he should have just gone in for the kiss. Yeah, like,
That's
look,
what she was giving the signs, man. Like,
she was
for
begging
so
for a
long.
smooch.
For so
Dude,
long.
Kiss Dr. Stahl is back in session. We're going to be having a couple appointments today. First one is just like, he kept laying out these horrible lines. Dude, she just wants you to kiss her. Quit while you're ahead.
Yeah.
He goes, hold on. I got to look at you so I can dream about you later and have a little dream of you. It's like, bro, this is
stop.
the corniest shit I've ever heard in my life. The lines were lame as hell. Also, you can tell from the moment you start listening to this guy that he can't spell. Is there a more obvious candidate for not being able to spell than just listening to this dude try to spit corny lines? I love that she called him out for it. I think that's very much in Michelle's sort of ballpark of personality. She doesn't that's not her style. And I guess they laughed about it. I've seen people on Twitter and Instagram seem to think that went better than I thought.
I thought it went good. I think it could have gone better.
Yeah,
sure.
I think Brandon goes far, but they seem to me the power dynamic, like, she seems way more mature than him.
He does seem young and like kind of naive, but
He seems so young.
maybe she's into that. You know, I don't know. It seemed like she was feeling it. I think so. I think it went good. Yeah.
I guess I think that everyone in Michelle are on sort of one page about how it went, and I'm on the other side being like, I don't think that
you're too caught up in like the kiss doctor aspect of it. You saw
no,
that.
no,
And you're like, this is horrible. I can't.
She's
watch.
a teacher.
Yeah.
You did, like, I don't think, I'm not saying he's dumb, but there was no depth to that conversation. He was spitting lines that you could find on Google or something that you could literally copy and paste and send to every girl. There was no depth to that conversation. To me, it was kind of like a default rose, a little bit of like, okay, well, no one else is really stepping up. So here you go, Brandon. You're the cutest one here.
That's
but my boy Rick. Okay, let's dive. I have the lab coat on.
I will say this.
Yeah.
Coming off a little less creepy than last time. I think his nerves have eased up.
Definitely.
Like, I really noticed that when the first episode, he seemed really rigid and just like kind of like really like the nerves were hitting him, but he kind of seemed to have eased up and he's kind of getting more comfortable. So I'm on Team Rick now. I think he's gonna be good.
He seemed very nervous night one. I'll tell you this as well. I've already got the stethoscope on. I've already got so we'll talk about it. I thought his Mad Libs thing was cute. I thought that was a really cute idea. Yeah. Michelle seemed to really like it. I actually liked his body language in terms of like how they were acting around each other while doing the Mad Libs. Like, he kind of had his arm on her arm, his arm around her waist. Like, they seemed to have chemistry there.
Mm-hmm.
The kiss was not bad. The kiss was not bad whatsoever, but he was very nervous. You could see him like visibly shaking.
Yeah,
mid-kiss.
he was so comfortable up till that point, and then he's like, fuck, it's time.
I get it. It was fairly promising. This is no Connor B scenario, certainly not a bad kiss, but you could this is a nervous dude. This is a very nervous dude.
Definitely.
I think look, I do like Rick. I don't think he's going to be problematic by any means, but I do think he's going to be someone who gets very insecure once. I think he's going to be a
like
jealousy
a
guy.
Greg situation, kind of like that. Maybe not
Greg
as bad.
comparison.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be similar, where it's like, oh, shoot, I forgot there are a bunch of other dudes. And you can kind of see it on his face when he's like, and that must be crazy when you think, I had an awesome connection. I did the Mad Libs thing. We shared a kiss. We seemed to really connect. Then the rose goes to someone else.
Yeah.
And your mind's just thinking, well, what the hell did they do?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. How good is their connection?
When in reality, all he did was not spell words correctly.
I don't get it. I'm just trying to get the rose.
No, now
that
we talked about Rick's date, I'm with you. I think like
this is what I mean. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, then we get Peter blown up at will. We kind of talked about it already. Was there any doubt when this dude first walked in with that dough that he was going to be a douchebag? Like immediately he seemed like he was going to be the most annoying dude on the show. The worst shirt I've ever seen on a date. It's like he's just wearing some cheap. It was so obviously some cheap H&M pink tie-dyed shirt. Looked like he just got out of like an EDM festival in Miami. I just this was to me was kind of like this was a date full of the island of misfit toys a little bit to me.
Yeah, no,
especially in comparison to the guys on the next date.
Yeah,
like dear Lord, I think it was a far stronger cast of characters.
Yeah.
But that being said, are you ready to jump into Jamie's one-on-one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so look, what did you think? Because this is tough. It's tough also knowing everything we know about Jamie in the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
But let's start with the first thing that I kind of noted that I haven't really seen people talk about on Twitter. What are your thoughts on Jamie being like, look, I'm glad I got the date, but this is also a test to see if she's compatible in my life. He said it like a bit of a jerk, a little bit, not a jerk, but just
he did say,
hey, I jet off to third world countries all the time.
He started up here like being a super dickhead about it, and then he brought it back a little bit at the end where he's like, I just want to see if she can fit in my life. But like, why you gotta say it like that, man?
Sure, but it is like to me, I didn't like the way he phrased it. I don't like the way it was framed, but it also is a valid approach that I respect. To me, it was a little bit Riley-esque, where it's like, it is realistic because you can't there should be a level of equality where it's, yes, you're competing for her, but you're also figuring out if this is a legitimate partnership moving forward, right?
Yeah.
So do you work together? She's also not being tested per se, but you're both trying to figure out if you're the right puzzle piece for the other person. So I did appreciate that. Now they go on into the middle of nowhere. What was it? Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
It's on my bucket list. It looked beautiful.
Mhm.
My first thought was I like the setting. I thought, well, they're just going to be camping out and doing acid for the next 12 hours, right?
Well,
like
that's what we'll be doing when we go, but not.
Yeah, exactly.
Not them.
Yeah. I like it looked like a very, very interesting setting for a date, and a beautiful setting for a picnic. And they find out they're going rock climbing, which this show, they have no qualms about killing a contestant.
Dude, I think they're actively trying to kill somebody.
We just saw Rachel Connell nearly plummet to her death.
Yeah,
she almost got like crushed by her own like flight instructor.
Yeah,
and we're just unfazed, like, okay, rock climbing next. Like,
well, and every season leading up to this one, we've seen ATVs flip and like all this. Like every season, man, can we chill for 1 second? And as someone who rock climbs, I don't understand. These people must have like some experience, or they must have got a quick crash course, because
that's what like,
that's not an easy thing to do.
It did not look easy. I'm not a climber. I don't know what rocks are tough. It looked like a tough rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that a fair assessment as a
I
rock
think so.
climber?
Yeah, it looked pretty tough to me.
As a
I
rock
think
climber?
so. Yeah, it looked pretty tough to me.
It looked very tall and straight up. And I'm no rock scientist, but that feels like a recipe for a tough climb.
Yeah.
But Jamie did a good job of coaching her up. I like the point where she made, like, I'm normally the coach. She's a teacher. She seems like the type of personality who would normally be uplifting her partner, and so it probably feels good to have that shoe on the other foot. I'm sure that was comforting in that setting. It went very, very well. And then we go to dinner and we get probably the most heartbreaking story, one of the most heartbreaking stories and heaviest stories we've ever gotten on the show. Basically, we don't need to go into too much detail because, again, maybe, you know what? I'm going to give what I honestly think the show should have given, and I'm going to toss out a trigger warning.
Yeah.
Trigger warning for a suicide, because I'm like, honestly, when I watched it, I thought not at all towards Jamie whatsoever. Little irresponsible of the show to just throw out that conversation without any warning, because look, we're always talking about, oh, the show is a good vehicle to have important conversations. However, when they just throw it out in that way, to me, I'm always a little wary of, okay, why are you putting this out because you want to actually have a legitimate conversation, spark a legitimate conversation about mental health? Or do you know that this story is going to be trending on Twitter and that the Bachelorette hashtag is going to skyrocket if you put something traumatic out there? Right. And I don't really have any reason to give the show and the producers the benefit of the doubt in that case. Yeah. Right. I don't know. But again, that's not a comment at all on Jamie. I thought I respected the hell out of him sharing that story. Essentially, he talks about how his mom struggled with mental health, and he was a excelling student. Like, he loved school. They asked him to skip a grade, and then his mom tried to take her life at a certain point, and so him and his sibling had to switch out who was watching her. He fell behind in school. Eventually she took her life. I think he was 13 years old. Very, very heavy stuff. And Michelle, she responds so well to, no one's opened up to that extent, but, Nate opened up in episode 1. Now we hear it from Jamie. We've heard a couple other people talk about their lives. And I think all the guys feel so seen and heard by her. That seems to be the general consensus. What did you think? I don't know if you have any thoughts on Jamie's story. Mine are basically just that, kudos to you for being able to share that and become, even though you seem like a bit of a snake in the grass when it comes to the inner house dynamics, become a successful, I'm sure, outside of the bubble of the show, a great guy. But what were your thoughts on the date and Michelle's reaction and basically how that dinner went?
Yeah, I love when we get like deep backstories like this. Obviously, it's tough to open up like that, especially on national television. So kudos to Jamie for that. But yeah, I think the exact quote that Jamie gave when Michelle responded was, "Oh, thank you for not saying sorry," because like that's what everybody says, right? Everyone's just like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss," and that's kind of it. But Michelle kind of like consoled him and like really praised him for opening up and sharing it, and I think he really respected that. And so yeah, kudos to both of them. Honestly, I think they both did really well. I had no complaints about the whole date. Really, it was just solid.
And that's a beautiful that's a beautiful mindset of, don't say sorry, because everything in my life is inevitable, unavoidable. Everything happens. It's outside of my control. And so, I'm thankful for the way stuff shapes me, was essentially his mindset. It's made me the man I am today. And I respect that a lot. Now, Jamie, I know you listen to this, long time listener of the pod. This is maybe where you might want to turn it off, because we're giving you your praise. It's only going to go downhill from there, because the rest of the episode takes a bit of a turn, takes a little bit of a heel turn. But we do get our first obscure Bachelorette artist, the debut of the season. Who was it? We got Caroline Jones, which is, it sounds like the teen detective in like a novel series. You know what I mean? The misadventures of Caroline Jones, and it's got like a nice little illustrated cover. It's on the feature of Barnes and Noble. It's on the feature table out front.
Yeah, pretty obscure.
I got nothing to say about her.
No, absolutely. I think honestly, no. Okay, the song did fit the mood for once. Like
I don't remember it at all. What was it?
I don't know, but it was like,
Well, I
I'm just
mean-
saying the vibe of the song, like it just fit the mood.
You know what's crazy? I only remember one song from an obscure artist. You want to guess what it is of all time on this franchise?
Oh, I have no idea. No.
Memorize You by Lane Hardy.
Oh.
I don't know why, dude. And it's like, to me, it's like the worst song ever. I'm not a big Lane Hardy guy. That it's stuck in my head forever. Memorize You by Lane Hardy. They got me. They
Yeah.
got me. That's what they're hoping for. They got me. Now, let's take a deep dive into something a little lighter. The basketball group date. Let's start off with this, Gary. We're talking off pod. Has anyone been hornier for a sport? Just a general sport than Michelle? She loves basketball. If she could just pick something to go home with right now, it would be, I'm just going to marry basketball. She's obsessed. I know that basketball is important to her. I understand she played D1, huge deal.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she loved basketball this much.
Yeah.
It's
I had a teacher like that in elementary where her whole brand was like, I used to play basketball, and it would like, she would take us to gym class and we just play basketball every day, no matter what. Like there's no dodgeball. We're playing basketball. You're going to learn to be the best. Like that was it. So I'm assuming Michelle's similar. Like whenever she takes her kids
Gym
down
class.
to the gym, it's basketball.
It's basketball.
Or nothing.
It's layup lines,
That's
baby.
all it is. Yeah.
I could see the levels of attraction were so attached to their basketball ability. Nate is maybe, in my opinion, again, I think I have pretty good judgment as a straight dude judging the hotness of other dudes. Nate's got to be one of the hottest dudes we've had on the show ever, I think. Right? He's
I can agree
borderline
with that.
hunk.
Yeah.
I think his hunk levels plummeted after that
when
missed
he
layup.
missed that layup, oh, she even
Bro.
said it. She's like, "How are you missing when you're that
You're
close?"
6'8". It's a
Yeah.
layup line, dude. I've refereed middle school basketball.
Yeah.
They don't miss a lot of layups in the layup line, especially the 6'8" kids, bro. But that being said, another dude who struggled, Gary, we're going to talk about how I whiffed on a prediction. How about your boy Pardeep, dude?
Oh
Did you
my
see
god!
that?
Yeah.
You knew I was going to call you out for that shit,
I was
too.
waiting for it. Yeah.
So for those who missed episode 1, Gary goes, I kind of like Pardeep. Oh, I like Pardeep. I think Pardeep's going to go pretty far. And I was worried. I'd look like a dick, but I said,
nope.
yeah, he's going home week 2. Bye,
And you're
Pardeep.
right. Yeah.
And I was right. Yeah. And I knew as soon as I saw, first of all, he's got one of these, he's shooting it, he's letting it go from his shoulder, like a shot put. He just whiffs it up. Just really, I know his goal was to just make it to the height of the rim. He
Yeah.
wasn't worried about aim whatsoever. I mean, obviously an air ball. You could tell it was an air ball from the moment he caught it. His first thought was, how do I get this out of my hand as quickly as possible?
I forgot to take in the fact that he's a doctor and clearly has never touched a basketball in his life. So
I think that was the
it
first
just-
time he's ever touched basketball.
I think it was. Just judging by his form. Yeah.
I'm sure he's a great dude. Yeah, but I mean, my man Pardeep, I knew you were gone week 2.
He's on
That's
the wrong
fine.
season. You're on the wrong season, man.
It's only mean if I'm wrong. But I was right. You're a
You were
week
right.
2. You're a week 2 exit.
Yeah.
Now also, as someone who follows, like I don't know if people know my background. We used to do some basketball coverage on this podcast. I've written on a lot of sports in my day, mostly basketball. I watch a lot of college basketball. I know high school basketball. Being called Mr. Basketball in your state is the second highest honor there is. It's that, and then being the Gatorade National Player of the Year. There's only one higher honor. And Minnesota is not like, I'm trying to think where would it be, like Vermont. If you're Mr. Vermont, I mean, who are you competing against?
Yeah.
Minnesota is a basketball state.
Mhm.
And the fact that Joe was named Mr. Basketball, that is a legitimately huge honor. This dude can ball. And ball he does.
Dude,
He's
they
obviously
stuck him on. They gave him the most ragtag group of guys.
again
Like, he's
Island
got
of Misfit Toys.
Pardeep. Nate was on his team, correct? Or was he on the blue team?
No, Nate was on the blue team
Nate was
because he
on
goes on the
There
date.
were some good guys on the blue team. I'm not a big basketball guy, but
Mhm.
it seemed like some of them knew how to play. They knew it was up.
Well, they must have. They
Yeah.
won the game. We didn't see a single highlight from them the whole time. We didn't get a. It was all Joe.
It was
This
all
whole
Joe.
date was Joe. And as someone who played, I played high school basketball, and this is what you dream of as a teenager. This exact scenario where you're literally playing for the girl, like your girl's affections. Like the amount of times I would be shooting around solo in the rain, pretending that like, oh my God, this shot right here, I'm gonna like, it's just like, dude, you could not blueprint a better scenario for a non-professional basketball player. If you ball out, you get the girl directly. And that's precisely what happens. His team loses by, I think, 1 point, and he gets the MVP award. How'd you feel about that? How'd you feel about Joe getting the MVP award after not being on the winning team? Because that doesn't really happen.
Much deserved, though.
Doesn't really happen in professional sports.
It doesn't really happen, but like if it was gonna happen, this is where it's like it had to happen because he was simply the only person on his team. He had nobody else. I think he had he might have had one guy helping him, but that was it, man. He was struggling.
I think Spencer, I think he's the father. We learned he's like a father of a 3-year-old this episode. He looked pretty good, but I mean, Joe, this date was all Joe, and I loved how quiet and humble he was about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be like, I've said before, Nate has he keeps displaying big dick energy of just not caring with what's going on around him with the other guys or anything. But so does Joe. He seems completely at peace, and that's probably because they're the two front runners. Like, I think that should be obvious to everyone, right? It's a 2-man race right now, is what it feels like.
Yeah.
And look, I think Michelle's super attracted to Nate, but she might be straight up in love with Joe. Like, you look at the look in her eyes, man.
Joe is a clear front runner.
You think so? Do you think it's not really even that close? Oh, wow.
I think it's close, but I think he's running away with it currently. You know?
Wow. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting because like she knew it. My thing is like, how did she know that he was Mr. Basketball in 2011? Like, she's been following his career for a long time. Like, she knows his biography.
Well, they're similar age, right? And she also got the runner-up, Mrs. Basketball.
Oh, sure. I'm just saying, like there's a lot of history there.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying she like went back in the archives necessarily, but like she's been aware and maybe had like a crush on him for a decade now.
Potentially, yeah.
Like, that's nuts. So again, we'll see. But oh man, I do have to mention the announcer. I mean, this announcer, dude, his career, it couldn't be more in the shitter. The only worst gig.
I was thinking, do you think it's like a, you know, when like, I think it's just like he's a producer and they just like, hey, you're
you think so?
Yeah, I think that's what they did.
I thought it was like the local sports anchor of Indian Wells. They got him over.
It wasn't
Channel 4 News,
because that was an abysmal display of announcing.
Also, the only worst gig, like that's pretty much bottom of the barrel gig if you're hoping to become a professional announcer. His next gig is like commentating a 10-year-old's paintball birthday party. Trevor with a nice shot on Brandon. I mean, he was tossing out the jokes. None of the guys seemed to be vibing with him at all. I mean, what do we do? Where's Wells? That was my only question.
Where's anybody else?
Like, where's anyone else? I wanted Tasha and Caitlin back on the call.
On Tasha's season, who literally just watched the events and didn't say anything.
Dude,
where's that guy?
The ref for the like, bro, why are we reffing a paint balloon fight? Like, what are we talking about? Like, what rule are there? Sanctioned rules? We need that guy back.
Yeah, we need that guy back.
Again, I love Nate's mentality of not worrying about the other contestants. That to me is just the sign of a guy who goes super far. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like that too. Like, you can't get caught up. I love when someone's like, they acknowledge that there's other guys, but they're like, I don't care because it's about me and the girl. That's it. Nothing else.
I think that's what you got to do.
And that's a sign of confidence too. Like,
it is.
It shows he's mature. He knows himself. And
it's also the sign of a guy who's been a hunk his entire life.
That's true.
Right? I think he probably knows exactly that. Like, hey, I look like an unproblematic Chris Brown.
Yeah.
I'm probably good for a little while here.
Yeah.
He looked so unfazed when he got called up for the first rose. Like, well, I mean, yeah. Obviously, yeah. Joe has a rose. It's me next.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, he did look a little shocked when he didn't get the group date rose. Joe gets it. And that was the first instance where, again, he's like, well, my time went super well. How could his time have gone better? Well, Joe played even more basketball with that guy. But I mean, how sustainable is that? Do you just keep playing basketball all the way through? They're on a hot air balloon date, and he goes, "You think I can make it from all the way up here?" It's just throwing it down off the edge.
Maybe.
To me, Nate, that was not a good showing. That the end of the group date, he's going, because I hate that, like, he didn't open up at all. She wanted vulnerability last date. He gave a little bit. All he did was compliment her. And I get, Nate, that that's all you've had to do your whole life, because again, you are a good looking dude. But he goes like, "Oh, you have such great eyes. Oh, you have such a good smile. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you have 2 arms and a pair of legs. Like, oh, you have hair on your head. Like, yeah, dude, you could copy and paste this shit to any girl you're dating." Like,
Yeah.
it just, to me, I didn't watch that interaction and go, "Oh, they're moving forward. Oh, they're pushing past Joe." I don't know. Did you have any thoughts on it going to Joe over Nate? Did that seem obvious in the moment?
Yeah, like obviously Joe's for sure deserving of it. But I'm just trying to think, like, does Nate have anything to open up about? Maybe that's the case. Maybe he's living life on easy mode, and he's just like, I'm just like a hot
Shit's
dude.
actually been going pretty well for me.
Yeah. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. It's unlikely because everybody
Yeah.
faces, a little adversity in their life.
He opened
but-
up about his family a bit last week. And I'm not saying you got to do it every week or whatever. To me, it was nothing. Yeah, man.
But even if you haven't faced anything and you can't open up about stuff like that, you can open up about where you want to be in life or what you want to do.
Learn about her a little bit.
Yeah, so there is stuff he could have been doing other than just...
Yeah, man. Yeah. We know she's got great eyes and a beautiful smile. She's the Bachelorette. Like, oh, your smile's actually kind of busted. Like, dude, yeah, they picked a beautiful woman to be the lead of their enormous reality TV show. Yeah. What a shocker. Now, let's jump into the cocktail party, because this is really the meat and potatoes of this episode. First of all, I love Rodney, the Granny Smith apple man.
I like it. He's very charismatic. I like electric. Yeah.
I think we need Rodney on Paradise. I don't want to say he's not winning the show, but he's not winning the show. And
he
Rodney,
seems like a guy that's like very charismatic, and all the girls are gonna be like loving him and hanging out and laughing. And then there's gonna be that one jaded guy in the corner being like, "Yo, fuck Rodney, this guy, I hate him." And it's just,
man, I don't even know if that's possible. This dude is so...
There's always that one jaded guy that just hates the nicest, There's always that one guy.
However, as awesome as he seems, my man, like, how do you not know what a Granny Smith tastes like? This is on mind-blowing levels. And you know what? I have a theory. I don't think he knows apples at all. And I forget what the bit was, but I think he didn't know that Michelle would really latch on to the bit this hard.
Yeah.
And now he's stuck pretending he knows what the fuck a Granny Smith apple was, because he also called it a Fiji apple. He takes a bite and he goes, "Oh, that's a Fiji apple."
It's a Fuji apple.
No such thing as a Fiji apple. I also had to look it up because I was like, I know there's such thing as a Fuji apple, but I don't want to sound like a dick and have Zayla Hooper call me out and be like, actually, as much as I do love it, I was like, I don't want to be wrong here. Yeah. Just keep me honest. And no, it could not be. But dude, Granny Smith.
He was even confused when he had the pizza. He's like, is that an apple? Or
is that lasagna?
Lasagna?
Bro!
I'm really not sure.
This dude is just straight up confused.
He said
generally.
lasagna, and he's like, I think I'm going to need more of that crust. I'm like, bro, it's pizza. You know it's pizza.
That man was just burned. The spotlight was a little too bright on him in that moment. He didn't see it coming, but he got the kiss post pizza. I thought you might want to go with a Fiji apple palate cleanser perhaps beforehand, but kiss doctor, good kiss. Two thumbs up, Rodney. Good stuff. Nothing critique. And Jamie takes a sketchy turn.
Yeah.
Tough. We said, okay, Jamie, turn off the episode because it's not going to be good for you. Again, great story. Respect on him opening up. But, man, he stirs the pot and then won't take credit for it. We've got a Carl situation all over again.
We always see it, man. We always see the guy who's like, I gotta say something. I have to do it. It's
man,
like,
he
you
sucks.
don't have to.
He does suck, but this is the best possible drama. I love this type of drama because, dude, the comedy of it was perfect. First of all, he's talking with 3 of the guys, and you can tell Spencer's kind of like, oh, I don't really care. I don't really give much attention to like whether she knows Joe or not. I'm just focusing on my thing.
Yeah.
Like a really mature perspective. Then he walks away, and that's just Martin, who looks like he runs an EDM. He looks like he would be DJing at the EDM festival that Peter's shirt is attending. They look like they're connected in that sense.
100%.
But I guess I don't know, maybe him and Jamie are close, or that he trusts him a bit more, because then Jamie goes, oh, by the way, I just remembered
conveniently
that I heard a story of Michelle hanging out with a light-skinned
bald guy.
Bald baller. That's wildly specific.
Like,
what does that mean? What does baller mean?
Who is describing someone as a baller in public?
Bro, that to me,
was he wearing basketball shorts?
Yeah, he's wearing full uniform and he's carrying the ball to the bar. Him and Michelle are like working on dribble drills in front of the bar. Bro, as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, well, this is obviously a fake story. Yeah. Like, that was the moment where I was like, too specific, my guy. You got to keep some ambiguity. Yeah, his name rhymed with snow too. I can't remember what it was, but okay. It was also hilarious. And Martin's just kind of like, oh, did you forget about the story until right now? Like, what?
And then he's like, oh yeah, I was just kind of like, I forgot about it. And then I saw Joe and I was like, oh yeah, bald guy. Sure.
Bro, like, what are you talking? Like, dude, your insecurity showing, and also you're gonna give a rose, man.
Yeah, why are you stirring the pot?
Just
like,
shut up.
That was my only like justification. Like, I'm never gonna justify it, but like, if you had to throw a Hail Mary out there and maybe stir up some drama and pull a Carl, more power to you. But
you're on a reality show. I love it. If you got to stay around, if you're trying to build your brand, if you want one more week, you don't have a rose. Sure, stir some pots. Why? I love to watch it. Yeah. But if you got a rose, bro, you gotta know this is gonna blow up.
Go sit on the
Shut
couch.
up. Just be quiet.
Yeah.
It was so funny how everybody is ripping him apart right to his face, and he can't say anything. And it's like, dude, this guy is such this guy is such a coward. He goes, huh. Yeah, I know what you mean. He goes, yeah, you feel me, right? He goes, yeah, I feel you. Yeah. Has anyone looked less innocent when they're talking about in a group? Jamie already has very expressive emotions, but he's like literally looking up at the ceiling, like, yeah, it's pretty crazy what's going on, right?
Maybe he's up there. Maybe he's on the roof sneaking around.
I would have loved if he tried, like, just subtly defending him, like, yeah, I don't know, but like, we probably shouldn't be ganging up on anyone, right? Or I don't know. They maybe had like, I totally agree, it is whack, but they probably had like a really good reason for it.
From a comedic perspective, that's all we were missing. It
was beautiful. Yeah. Oh, well, like the friend who told him is probably like a really trustworthy guy. He's probably actually like even made him the godfather of his kid. It was so perfect.
Here's what I'm thinking though. Martin has to know, right? That it was him.
Well, that's what I was,
because we never got anyone saying like, oh,
no one calls him out, and we'll see. I think this is obviously going to be something that continues in the next week. I don't think Jamie's off the hook by any means. And he's leaning into the villain edit. Obviously, he's saying like, I don't care about being the good guy, but to me, it's so whack. Like, okay, then be the villain. Then own up to it. Like, you talk about, you're a man, you're grown up. So say it with your chest. Be like, yeah, I thought it was sketchy, and I asked her about it. I also love how he's talking to Michelle, and she's going, like, do you think, like, is getting out of hand at the house? He goes, yeah, it is kind of getting out of hand. Everyone's talking about it. She goes, do you think it's something I need to address? He goes,
probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something you got to address. It's like nobody is talking about it except for you.
Yeah.
He could have just, and that was the funniest part to me. He could have just gotten the peace of mind there. Well,
that's the problem too. Is he's the one who he brought up his story, so obviously he was the origin of it. If they were talking about it, so it's just all bad for him, regardless.
It doesn't look good. But here's a question, because I love Michelle. But her response, look, body language doctor, stethoscope is back on, lab coat's on. It didn't look great. No. That did not seem like someone who was completely in the clear. I don't know, because I really do love Michelle, and she did explicitly say, I have not met any of you guys in person before you stepped out of those limos.
Mm-hmm.
But she didn't say no right away. She didn't say no at all. And Jamie leaves and goes, no, she didn't have to tell me no directly. I could tell that she was telling the truth. Well, no,
Yeah.
that's suspicious 2 seconds ago. I don't know. Do you think that there's anything we're not? I think there's some we're not seeing.
It felt like that in the moment. She did
Yeah.
kind of clear it up later. I think you could be right. I think there might.
There just wasn't, like, she went quiet. She says, I need some time alone.
Well, and she did the classic thing when people are guilty. Usually on this show, they love to go like, "This is too much right now.
This is too much
I'm
for me
feeling
right now. I can't even-"
blindsided."
Yeah.
So that's maybe where you were getting that from. But I don't know. You never know, right? Like she could be hiding something.
I don't know. It's tough because she seems so enamored with Joe. I think part of that is we like to build people up in our heads from previous experiences with them, into just these unrealistic, unattainable figures. I think that's probably what she's done with Joe a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The flip side of that is maybe she meets him and goes, oh, turns out there's no hidden layers to him. He's not just tall, dark, and mysterious and handsome. He's just kind of got nothing going on inside, right? Maybe he's not quiet. He's just a little bit boring. Yeah. Like, who knows? Maybe she goes, this isn't the guy I've built up in my head for 10 years. It's tough to reach those expectations once there's not a basketball hoop around.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying the season is over. I think maybe where that guilt came from, and this is an assumption, is that, yeah, like, she hasn't met him before, but she has built up this idea of him in her head beforehand, right? She's thought about meeting him.
It
long
even
before
could have
the show
been because she
started.
didn't admit to it then. Was the DM situation? Could have been that.
Exactly. Yes. And she was like, okay, I guess I have to address this to the group, right? And she maybe thought, and I would too, hopefully I don't have to talk about this to the rest of the group. It can just be a funny thing between us.
Yeah.
Now, let's go to the rose ceremony. We lose. Who do we lose? We lose
PJ.
We lose Pardeep. We lose one white guy. Like, I straight up never saw him before. I think it was the last guy to leave.
Yeah, I don't know.
No idea who that guy was.
It wasn't LT, was it? LT.
No.
LT
LT is the guy with the beard, right?
Yeah.
I also like Casey, the guy said looked like Dax Shepard.
Yeah.
He seems super mature. He's had some great like his thoughts on Peter. He's like, can't speak for anyone else. Peter's just a bit much. That being said, you just mentioned it. PJ. I'm at a loss for words. First of all, he had a spectacular tie on. Beautiful floral tie. Went beautifully with his blue suit. He was dressed immaculately. The mustache looked as good as it ever has. As good as any mustache ever has.
Yeah.
I'm devastated.
I'm gonna chalk it up to poor vision on Michelle's part, and she just like she was looking around the room.
She's nearsighted.
Maybe PJ was hidden behind like a pillar or something. And she's like, "Oh, I guess I'll give it to Peter." And then the ceremony wraps, and PJ comes back out of the pillar. She's like, "Fuck,
shit." Honestly, screw Jamie, because I guarantee if PJ had that cocktail party to chit chat with her, he would be going all the way to the end. He'd be winning this show. And he had that one cocktail party. Michelle, I'm sorry. You didn't find the one. The one just walked right out the door. And I respect, as much as I love Michelle, he gave her that little half hug. You're letting me go week 2? Yeah. I'm walking out with Pardeep and this dude who's like this aimless
what a
dude.
Cast of characters. Like those 3 or 4 just misfits and PJ?
And then PJ, dude, he gave her that little one-arm half hug. She didn't look impressed, but I don't owe you a better hug.
Nah.
You're letting me go this early? Come on now. For insane behind Peter?
Yeah.
And okay, you know what? We'll save it. Yeah, we will save it for our Rose and Thorn. You ready to jump in, Gary?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's start with our Thorn. Let's start with a negative, end with a positive. If you guys are new to the channel, the Rose is, and I'll give a shout out here. I've gotten Rose and Thorn from our camping group. I got called out last week because I never give them any credit for giving it to me. At the end of each day, when we're out backpacking, give our Rose, which is our highlight of the day, and our Thorn, which is our low light of the day. We do that for every episode. So our Thorn, something we're snipping off. We want to get rid of it. Gary, what you got?
I think we'll collectively give it to PJ. so we can just like push that out of the way.
Yeah, can I say something real quick before you move on from
Go
PJ?
Yeah.
Because I was in a coffee shop earlier today, and a friend of the program and a local barista. I walk in, she listens to the podcast. She's listening right now. Shout out to Sarah. She goes, "Sucks about PJ, eh?" Looks right at me. Goes, "Sucks about PJ." Eh? I'm like, "Yeah, like fuck, yeah." I screwed up, and she goes, "Yeah, really pulled a James." Oh, damn it!
Damn.
2 seasons in a row. For those who don't know,
I was gonna say it at the top of the episode. But
I called
that James,
the box guy, Aaron's boyfriend. I said that he was going to be the Bachelor. Never been more wrong in my life. PJ, I thought he was straight up going to the end. I thought he was going to hometowns. Gone week 2. I like to brag that I'm good on the drafts. We win some, you lose some. That's why we need the Zayla
Hoopers. What's so fucked up about that too?
What?
Is I was Team Pardeep and he went home at the same time.
PJ. Dude. The firefight. What are we doing? Like, that's not on me. That's on Michelle.
It's not
you made a mistake.
You
made a mistake, Michelle.
Pardeep is on me. I'll take that to the grave. That's on me.
Well, I mean, but you went for the Hail Mary throw.
I did.
Sure.
I did.
Like, you had great betting odds on that Pardeep. Me, I'm losing a whole lot of money on that PJ bet.
Yeah.
Dude, devastating. So yeah, that can be a shared thorn. And I do want to say contestants must get so annoyed as well when they're forced, because the producers were obviously like, we got to keep Peter around for another week. So Michelle, sorry, you're giving him a rose. You got to cut someone else. I think PJ was the next one to stay, I would assume, had Peter gone home.
Had to be.
So contestants must get so annoyed. Like, now I have to fucking deal with this pizzapreneur narcissist for another week just because you want to see him throw someone's leather jacket in the pool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yep. So that's our shared thorn. That's our shared thorn there. Hit me with your rose. What's the positive?
My positive is gonna be, this is actually tough. I'm gonna say I think it's Joe, because I thought for a second he was gonna be a villain. I had an inkling that he could have taken a turn for the worst.
The guys want him to be too.
They do want him to be, and he's not letting it happen. So I'm gonna give it to Joe.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah,
I really like that because I was talking about this with Sarah in the coffee shop. The guys were saying like, oh, Joe didn't even win, and he went on the date. Well, yeah, what's he supposed to do? Like, oh no, I didn't win. I'm just gonna go home. Like, all fair enough. A Bachelorette pickup game. Yeah. Turns out I don't really give a shit about my team. I'm gonna go on the date. Yeah, they're trying to paint him as the villain. He's just kind of seems like a fine guy.
Noah. I was gonna compare it to Noah jumping in the ring and being like that, but it's not even that. Like he
got given the chance. Yeah, and so we'll see. I'm still a little wary of the fact that he wasn't interested in her before she was on TV. And now he's interested in her. I know he gave his reason.
Yeah.
But we are a little skeptical. I still have, I'd say 3% of skepticism, but I do like Joe. So that's a great rose. I have my first one. It just says being right about Pardeep. So Pardeep, I'm not trying to rip on you. I knew, come on, man. You're trying to be nice. You're trying to, no. Pardeep, you're week 2. You're week 2. Bye-bye. I've seen this show before. I've seen this film play out. My real rose, though, is Jamie's villainy, because this is it's just electric TV. As someone who also, like, he got the early one-on-one, he's a major figure. Michelle likes him. That's the type of villain I want. Carl, it's like, dude, you don't matter in the show. Who cares if you're
Carl's the villain we don't want ever again.
We have not seen a villain who actually has a chance of going far in a long time. I didn't watch Hannah Brown's season, but I feel like Luke P was that guy. Like, he went fairly far. He was like, I don't know. He was kind of went really under the radar as a villain until he broke out of his shell completely. And everybody realized that he was this crazy, manipulative, possessive guy. Jamie, hopefully it doesn't go that far, but it's just the perfect level of villainy to me. Like, this is just, dude,
because you want it to be spicy up until top 3. Like, that's what we want. We don't want everybody buddy all the way.
No,
up.
I think I was enjoying that more than most people on Twitter. The fact that everyone was saying to him, like, man, whoever's doing this is like a big time bitch. And he's like, but like, I'm sure they have their reasons at the same time, right? It's just like slowly taking chips off his ego.
Yeah.
So I love that, and I'm excited to see how it plays out next week.
He held
Gary-
he held onto his cards though. He was
No one
doing
knows.
his no one knows, and also he was like, it sucked to be the punching bag, but I still don't care. And it's like, oh yeah, go for it. Let's go. Let's see it.
I cannot wait to see how it plays out next week.
All I have to say, Jamie, is keep that same energy, bro.
Keep that
Keep
same
that
energy.
same energy all the way up.
When you get confronted, keep that same energy, my guy. Be that big boy adult and say it with your chest. So we'll see if he does. Guys, as always, thank you for tuning in. Rate, review, subscribe. Maybe go find Carson Cooper on social media and message him.
We need
get
him
your ass back on the pod. I don't
Hashtag
care about
find Carson.
hashtag free Carson from his teaching career. Stop teaching the youth of tomorrow. We're trying to educate people on how to make out on reality TV and how to be a proper villain. These are the things that are important for the next generation to learn, Coop.
Yeah.
But otherwise, join us next week. We will get Coop back. That is our mission statement. Other than that, rate, review, subscribe. Thank you so much for joining. Producer Gary, remember,
A wet bird never flies at night.
thank you, and peace.
What a